Oh, all right. Wine
Wednesday.
Welcome. I'm sinking in. I feel like I'm in like the lowest part of this couch.
Yeah, what's happening?
All right. So, what we're doing oh, hey, bud. Welcome to the show. All right. So, what we're doing tonight is we are going live as Andrea tonight because there's a competition going on for Rocktober.
So we need things to be public. And our group is now private, so we had to go live, so give everyone the chance to share, like, be on to support all of that jazz. So hi guys. Look at it. Arissa, Greg, Jess.
Welcome, Amy.
Amy Wagner King.
So for those of you in the challenge, if you don't want to watch the whole video, you don't have to watch the whole video. Just at this time, throw an emoji up to show you showed up. So that way we can say, yes, you got credit for your team, and you don't have to watch the whole thing, just so you guys have a disclosure. I know I can be very boring, she's very entertaining, but you can enjoy the show either way.
So if you guys have not been on with us before, this is how it goes, okay? So typically there's a sassy look coming from this side.
I think today's gonna have some sassy looks too. We got into some conversations on tonight, so this is a good one.
So if you see one of us throwing out a sassy look, I don't know, you stumped me with that one.
Where did you go?
Then let us know, and one of us will drink.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll both drink, not one of us.
You see how Justin Los Santos just threw up the little wine glasses?
There you go.
Whenever you see us go like, what, or I don't agree, or somebody gives a nasty look, or if you really agree with something, throw up the wine glasses, we drink together. You okay there, Fox shirt?
Like, you know, I'm always in black, so I'm like, I had this shirt, and I didn't put lipstick on.
You look fine. I don't know what you're doing. You're looking good. It's good. Calm down. You're good. You're good. But today we're going to get into a very cool one. Hopefully this can resonate and connect with you. And if you haven't connected with what this is, we are taking tonight references from another book. Not just my book tonight, but from another book. And if you haven't read it yet, we're going to be using a lot of references from this book from Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
We'll be combining that with my book, Everything is a Choice, which will probably create some dissension and arguments, which we can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear from you guys. If you haven't been on a Wine Wednesday and it's your first one, please get involved. Say some stuff, leave some comments, and sometimes we'll be able to read your questions and make sure that we can also incorporate your thoughts and your ideas too. So we do appreciate the time you spend here. So I think it's time to get into it.
Yes.
All right, so let's start off with the very first of, well, let's talk about the idea in the first place. Let's talk about the whole thing, like what happened to love. And I think the idea behind that is I think we've all been in relationships. You see people have marriages that start and then marriages that fall apart very quickly. And they're like, what happened? You know, we loved each other so much when we started. We were on fire. When we started, it was so good. And then something happened. Like, it's like the whole thing started just melting apart. Like, I built our house out of sand and it rained. Like, what happened?
Right. And now more than ever, people are getting divorced at a higher rate than, you know, in history, really. So many people are getting a divorce. And so what keeps happening, right? What keeps happening? Why do we
love each other? What happened?
I don't know. You know, whether it's, you know, some people are getting divorced, you know, after a year or 2 years, or have been married for 15 years. What the heck happens? So tonight, we are going to get into the 5 love languages, which if you guys have or have not read this book, I highly recommend it. It's pretty powerful. Even if you are not in a relationship, it's good because it helps you understand yourself and your 2 primary love languages you have, your primary and secondary love language. So
no, you can't. You don't have your glasses, do you? Can you see what Toby's saying?
No. You don't have my glass, I can't see. I can see my drink, but I can't see anything
Toby
else.
says, is the bias here that divorce is a bad thing? And on my side, I say no.
Listen.
Divorce is almost always a good thing.
It's not, because, I mean, who wants...
Go ahead. I want to hear
you know, because I'm divorced, so let me have a moment. It's not a bad thing. But I think in some cases, it can be. Especially if someone doesn't want to try to work it out, right? And I guess I see it both ways. In my situation, it was not a bad thing. It's something that needed to happen. But it does have many other effects besides the 2 people that are married, right? So it affects the family, and sometimes that's hard. So By no means am I saying, like, if you're married and it's not working out, just get a divorce. No, try to work that stuff out. And if you can't work it out, then go from there. So no, divorce isn't always a bad thing. In my case, I love being divorced.
My argument on this one goes with the Louis C.K. one, where he says, if there were two people who were very much in love and they grew together and they did all these activities together and they loved each other so much and things were going so good, and then they got divorced, that would be a very sad story. But that's happened exactly 0 times ever. Like, people who get divorced are two people who are fighting each other, or they aren't doing well anymore. They're at each other's throats, or they don't connect, or they're sleeping in different rooms. Like,
right.
they no longer love or respect or trust each other. That's what happens. So they're not two people who are still passionately in love and everything is so good and we're getting divorced.
Right, then they wouldn't get
that
divorced.
just doesn't
Right.
happen. It's two people who are not happy, who now are just less unhappy.
Right.
It's a better direction. Now, I'm not saying everything's magical, I'm just saying it's better than staying. And so
True.
I don't think divorce is the worst thing ever, but I do like to hear people's opinions, because I can't say that a messy divorce is a great thing, but it sure is better than staying. Because staying there another 10 years, go ahead and put that one in.
Right. No, thank you. Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and start talking about some of the deterioration in relationships. I think all of us have been in relationships, and all of us have missed each other's marks at some point. So I think the easiest way to get into how do we connect with some of these things, I think, would be getting into what are ways that we connect. Mm-hmm. What do you got?
So there's 5 different love languages. Is that where you want to go?
Let's jump.
Let's jump right in. So there's 5 different love languages. So if you guys have not read that book, again, read it. Take the quiz. Honestly, the first time I got the book, I'm like, I'm only taking it for the quiz. Let me figure out what I am, then I can read about it, right?
Do you want me to get you your glasses? Because they're throwing some good stuff up here.
I can see.
What did Christine just say?
People change and people get stubborn too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're throwing good stuff up. I'm just saying, like, I just want to make sure you can see it.
You can read it too.
Hey, Trouble. What are you doing?
Yeah, she's absolutely right.
Well, I mean, we can caveat that in a second, but just want to be able to, like, bring it back.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So 5 different love languages, right? So there's a quiz in there that you guys can take. If you're married or dating, have, you and your spouse or significant other take it together, mm-hmm. and then go from there. It is rare that 2 people that are in a relationship have the same love language, which that is, in my opinion, what makes it tricky. Because now you have to not only do you know your own love language, but now you're getting to know someone else's love language and how to communicate with them. And that is where a lot of times makes it difficult. Because the way that you like to receive love is not always the way that you give love, vice versa, right?
Right.
So the 5 love languages there are quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, gift giving, and acts of service. So throw it up if you guys have, or let us know if you guys know what your love language is, so we know kind of who's done this quiz, or if you're aware. If you have not taken the quiz, don't assume that you are one, because sometimes it can change.
We're all 5. You are on fire tonight. Look at you. Look at that's a drink right away.
Okay.
Thank you right away. But as far as the 5 love languages go, it's not that you're one love language. You're all 5. It's just the priority level of them. So while you may appreciate getting gifts, it doesn't fulfill you. You know what I mean? Like, it may be your 5th level of love language, but it doesn't mean you don't ever want a gift at Christmas. It just means that's not the way you show love, but you still like that. And so, you figure out what your order is. Right. And it does change, and part of what Christine says is some people change and some people get stubborn. We evolve, but also just understanding what our evolution looks like helps us to connect with the person we're with. I know that even for us, our love language evolved because of bad relationships. Part of our love languages that was not a high priority became a high priority because of the absence of that love. And I think that that's something that maybe taking a test, if you took it in college or something and said, here's what it used to be, well, maybe it's different.
Right, and it definitely can be. And sometimes your most of the time, love languages come from your childhood. And you grow up getting to know a certain type of love language, right? So when you become an adult, it can shift or can stay the same based on different things that you've gone through. But to Rick's point, in my marriage, I didn't have quality time ever. So now quality time is actually my love language, and I would have never thought that would have been it. It's quality time and physical touch is something that is my love language. It's how I show love, but also how I receive love too. So I love spending quality time with people. In a relationship vibe, I'm a hugger. I like to hug people. Like to touch. Put my hand on his leg or arm. That's how I show love to people. So knowing that, it's easy for me to say, okay, because I know my two love languages, physical touch and quality time, if Rick had words of affirmation and all I said was, hey, I want you to spend time with me, it may become annoying to him, right?
I'm like, why don't you ever say nice things about me?
If his is words of affirmation and he says exactly that, like, you never tell me I'm doing a good job, or you never tell me that you appreciate me or that you love me. That's what I need. And I'm like, but we spend time together. I want you to spend time with me. It's not going to connect. That communication gets lost because I'm communicating my love language to something that is not his. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's so important, because if someone's a words of affirmation and you're not, it can be challenging, because people that have words of affirmation want to be told they're doing a good job. They want to be told they're appreciated, they're loved. The laundry list of things that words mean a lot to them. Mm-hmm. And so for someone that's not words of affirmation like myself, I'll put this out there, it can be exhausting in moments where you're constantly having to tell people.
It's exhausting to you.
Right, because it's not mine. Right? It can be exhausting. My ex-husband was words of affirmation, and I didn't really understand it that much. And it's not that I didn't understand it, but I found it to be exhausting, to be honest. But that's why it can be challenging, but also it's, I guess not challenging, but it's good to understand kind of where the other person comes from. Sure. So you know how to communicate.
Well, maybe let's get in depth on each one a little bit and talk about like certain ones. So you said quality time is an important one to you. What does that actually mean? Because some people would be like, I think my person's quality time, but what does that mean? Like I just have to stand there like an idiot? Like what does that mean? Right. I have to constantly be serving them or something? What does that mean? Oh, quality time means I have to give you back rubs. Like what does that mean?
No, quality time means, it can mean like, let's go to the grocery store together. Let's do things together, right? If you're in the same house, that doesn't mean I need you to be with me every moment, talking to me, entertaining me. That's not what quality time means. You can be in the same room with someone and just be having their presence with you is good. Again, it's not meaning that you have to have someone entertaining you. That's not what the quality time means. But something as simple as being in the same room and doing things together, whether it's cooking dinner together or going to the store together or working on a project together, that is what quality time people enjoy.
And it could go any direction. It could just because even when we were working on, I was working on Jam the Excuses and Warrior stuff while she was doing work stuff here, and even still, that's quality time. Like we still feel we're both progressing and moving forward in the same room, and that's still a team feel. The vibe is still positive there. And yes, I have ice in my wine.
Nice.
But that's part of like even the quality time is something that doesn't have to be that complicated. So it could be like we're working on a project together, or we're playing a game together, or we're doing an event together, or it could just be something where you're reading your book with your feet on his lap and he's working on a paper or something. Like it could be something just you're doing something in the area together just to show that I'm here with you. And it's something simple. Let's see. Yeah, you go ahead and tag your teammates, Greg. Just put them in the comments. They'll jump on. No problem.
So for those of you guys that are in the challenge for October, the Rocktober challenge, thank you for being on with us tonight. Also, again, this is why we're public tonight rather than private group. That's my phone going off. So make sure you share it in order to get points for your team, or tag them and have them share too.
We'll just call you back, okay, hon?
My kid's calling. All right, so
Old
that's it for the Rocktober challenge. So share, we'll continue to be under my name for the whole month of October, and then November we'll probably go back to going live within our own private
Just a
group.
Mile a Day group. So this is good for this month for people to be able to see Just a Mile a Day. We've been doing Wine Wednesdays now for almost a year.
Yeah.
And it's our personal development drinking game / a cheat day with a purpose. And so for those of you who haven't seen this, a lot of it comes from our books, a lot of it comes from the stuff that we go to, and we just love to hear from you guys also. So back on topic though, thank you for spending quality time with us. If you don't want to spend quality time because that's not your love language, just leave an emoji in there so that way we know that you are here.
Right.
So there's another one, and let's go ahead and jump into like the next one.
Which one do you want to go into?
Let's save touch for last because I have
Okay.
something special for touch that people don't think about. And this goes a little bit more into my book, and then we'll get into that stuff afterwards. So let's go into acts of service.
Okay.
Now, acts of service is one, generally speaking, where you'll see people doing stuff that goes unnoticed, but that's people saying I love you. And the reason for this is to raise your level of awareness so that way you can say, I see that you did your love language for me. Now that may not be your love language, but you can recognize they're doing theirs. And acts of service is one where I vacuumed today, or I made the bed, or I picked up the kids from school, or I did the dishes for us, or I made dinner, or I took out the garbage, or I did something for you. I did something for you. You know, and it could be a small thing, it could be a big thing, but I did something just to show you that it was inconvenient for you, but I wanted to do that so you didn't have to do that, and that's how I show that I care about you. And that's one that goes really, really unnoticed by people, because if you're a quality time person, but I'm out cleaning the car, you're going to be like, you didn't spend any time with me, you must not love me. They're like, I spent 2 hours cleaning your car, that means I love you. And they're like, yeah, but I wasn't there, which means you don't. It's easy to watch a love language get twisted into not being love when it's 100% love.
And that's when, you know, in moments of lack of appreciation comes into play, right? If it's not your love language, and just because that person is doing something that doesn't speak to your love language, it can be easy for some people to see that. And what?
Babe, you gotta get your glasses.
What was in the middle? What?
Well, Gary's just being funny.
Okay.
Gary down.
So, hi Gary. So it can be easy to overlook those things, to your point, to also not appreciate those moments, you know? And a simple thank you so much, I see that you did that and thank you for doing this, goes so far. It really does. And again, it's appreciating the small things, no matter what love language you are. And that is also a downfall of many things.
Yeah, and a big caveat to some of these too is these love languages don't require you. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. She gives me sassy looks. But it doesn't require on some of these, if somebody does quality time, you don't have to do anything quickly to say you did quality time, I have to reciprocate.
Right.
It's not necessary. The same thing with acts of service. If somebody said, hey, I took out the garbage, you don't immediately have to go like, well, what can I do for you? Like, they can just go like, thank you so much for that. Like a simple acknowledgement. That's it. We're going to get to why that's important later.
Yes.
All right, so I feel like we've got that one pretty covered.
I think so too.
Let's go to words.
Words of affirmation. So, again, showing appreciation is very, very important to people that are words of affirmation. Thank you so much for taking out the garbage. Thank you so much for cooking dinner. I love you so much. People that are words of affirmation love to hear I love you.
Or I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you. I appreciate you so
or
much.
You're special to me.
Yeah.
Or wow, you're awesome. You're so cool. Like it's the things that make you feel good. But also, if your words of affirmation, that also means negative words mean more.
They absolutely do. Yes.
So if they're insulted, or if they're disregarded, or if they're blown off, like it makes them feel worse. Like,
and they will tend to hold on to those things. If your words of affirmation, you hear something that's negative, you'll hold on to those things more than most people that do not have words of affirmation. So be careful with the words that you choose and how you use them, to a person that's love language is words of affirmation.
It's an important one, and
It's
there are
very
people
important.
out there who it's very big to be able to say the things so that they know that they're loved, or they know they're here. That's why if you're an act of service with a words of affirmation person, they'll miss each other completely.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, why didn't you just tell me a bunch of good stuff about me when they're like, I cleaned the living room, you didn't see, or I've been at work all day, you didn't notice that I was doing something I don't want to do so that you can be happy. And they're like, you didn't tell me things to make me happy. Like they'll just miss right by each other.
And this book too will offer little tips of things that you can do to remind yourself if you are in a relationship with someone that has words of affirmation you are not, to write notes on the mirror. To also write notes to yourself to remind you to say those things too, because if you're not, it may not be something that you're used to practicing or used to doing. So even writing notes to yourself to remind that person, just a reminder to show your appreciation for them, using words of affirmation.
You did great right there.
Yeah.
And cheers to you. Good job, babe.
Cheers.
And cheers to you guys. Thank you all so far for joining us on Wine Wednesday. We do appreciate you guys being on. So I think you get the idea of words of affirmation. So what's the next one before our one?
Acts of service.
No, we already did acts of service, but I did get you this thing as a present.
A gift. Gifts. And so gifts is an interesting one too, because I see this happen more often than not when someone that it has gifts as what is in this drink? Gifts as their love language, and they give a gift. They don't always expect it, right? And so it's important for the other person to know too, if they're not a gift giver, just because you give a gift doesn't mean you need one in return. That is the way that you're showing love.
Yeah. So if I bought you a bracelet, it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy me a watch.
No, it also doesn't matter what the cost is. It doesn't matter how expensive the gift is. For a gifts person, they want to, anything is fine. It can be a card would work. Something that can be a small gift just to show that this is how I'm showing you love, is by giving you a gift, because that's your love language and how you speak to it. I don't know.
It's not your thing. If you haven't noticed, giving is not Andrea's love language.
No, but I do like to give gifts though. I do enjoy giving gifts. That's the way that I show love. At work, I'll bring in candy and stuff like that. That's my way of show love and appreciation too.
It's true, but you do not do well with it back. It's not a need for you back.
I like a card, but I don't need gifts back. Not something that I require. It's not. No, I'm good.
It's good, and that's where it gets confusing, because gift giving is one that it seems like something that should be obvious. Guys would be like, hey, I bought you earrings, I bought you a necklace, I bought you a new shirt, I bought you something. That means we're good. And a lot of times, and it's unfortunate, guys will lean to gift giving as apologies, which starts giving gift giving a kind of negative feel.
Yeah.
Like, I got you flowers because I'm sorry I screwed up again. It's sometimes gift giving starts becoming a little more negative when it has a very positive intention. And that's where it gets tricky, because you see people go like, I thought that's what they wanted. Or they'll buy them earrings or something because they're told from a Zales commercial that that's what love is. And people don't pay attention. I don't know what love languages are. Maybe if I get her earrings, she knows I love her. And she'll be like, it's not my love language, bro.
Yeah.
It's not the way I say it. Thanks for earrings, but I don't even have my ears pierced. Way to pay attention. Like those kind of things. And that's where having a higher level of awareness for what your person's things are, for what your things are, gives you so much advantage. And that's a big part of it, knowing which ways that works for them.
Absolutely. So Jen says that her husband and her have, their love languages are acts of service and quality time, which, again, my husband is acts of service and quality time. Okay, got it. So what is yours, Jen? Do you guys have the same? Is it different? And I think that's, before we get into the last one, I would just ask you guys too, when you're going through, what?
Drink. Holly's thing says she was commenting on somebody else's watch party.
You're like, drink, and they're like, we're selling jewelry here? That is awesome. That's funny. That's really funny. I'm telling you, put something in this drink tonight, and it's, I don't know.
I'm going to drug you tonight.
So silly. So I think that, I don't know. Let's get into the last one. It'll come back to me. Oh my God.
Welcome to Wine Wednesday. This is live. And so you are so funny. That's so funny. You're in the middle of talking about gift giving and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure we get the idea.
Yeah, this is where I was going. I was just saying, it came back to me. That if you do have different love languages, I would love to hear how you guys, if you do know them, you and your spouse or significant other, how do you guys work through some of those differences when you do have different love languages? I'd love to hear what that looks like for both of you. And
yeah, because Jen, you guys said you have conflicting love languages. What are some stuff that's worked for you?
Yeah, I would love to know that. Okay, so the last one we want to talk about.
All right, and this one is a tricky one, but it seems like it shouldn't be, but it is the most complicated of all of them. It's the only one out of all of them that requires something back. And so that would be
touch.
Touch.
Right.
Touch is the one where it can be something simple. And Andrea and I do this even on this video. We do subtle things where our arms are touching, and this is still a subtle thing where like this is still a reassurance that we'll do to each other. We don't have to be all over each other in order to say like, hey, I appreciate you or I love you back. It's just even something as simple like kind like touch makes it so
if you
there's
see me
connection.
going like this, I'm pinching him. No, I'm kidding.
Like, I'm not just flexing here, I'm in pain. But it's something simple things, and this is where touch is one of the ones where a hug, or it's not always sexual. It could be like holding hands, or like what's up, bud? Like just something like this, or like even a touch on the arm, or like like even just in the movie, you're just touching legs, like something. Small things just show reassurance.
And because I'm also a touch, and him and I have the same love languages, we're touch and quality time, and so. We've even had this conversation where if he walks past me and again it becomes like just something that I'm not used to. Anytime we walk past each other, it's usually like we're touching or putting our hand on our shoulder or back or something. Just say, hey, I'm here. It becomes one of those things that I think both. I don't feel like I'm still used to it, but I know that that's something he does. And so in my mind, I think to myself, every time he does, I make sure you appreciate that moment. That it's happening, because those types of things, when you're used to someone that constantly shows their love language to you, it becomes very easy to now expect it to be a thing, and that's where it gets a little tricky. And so knowing that when he touches me or holds my hand, like for me, I remember these moments are precious to me. These moments, I do appreciate them, and I'll say to him, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate whatever it is, right? And just vocalizing that, even though he's not a words of affirmation person, it's important for me to still say it, right? For me to say it, so he knows that, hey, I see what you're doing and I appreciate you for that. And so, and on the flip side of love languages, try to always have the awareness of that it's happening, but also the appreciation that it continues to happen, rather than taking it for granted or expecting it to happen, because that's typically where it also will go wrong.
Now, this is a very tricky thing. Now, if touch is your lowest on your love languages and not important to you, and you're with somebody who is a touch as their most important, here is where it becomes very, very, very volatile. Because if you're not a love language person for touch, and you're like, literally, I just need some space. Can you please just give me some space, because it's not the way that I communicate. And you're with somebody who feels like they're super needy, even if they're just like, can you please just talk to me? Like, to them, a small touch is the same as doing this. It's too much. You're overwhelming. You're smothering. You're too much. It's too much. And so the only thing with touch that makes it different is if she was to touch my hand and I pull away, like, stop, I need some space. That's an immediate rejection.
Yeah.
I just hurt them in their highest love language. Touch is the only one that requires that person also reciprocate immediately. So if I touch her hand and she pulls away from me, it immediately goes from I'm showing love to you just hurt my feelings.
Right.
And this is important when you see, like, when you're in bed with your spouse or whatever, and they just want to hold on you, or they just want to snuggle on you, and you're like, seriously, stop! I got a headache. I'm trying
so
to go
hot.
to bed.
Like,
Get off of me.
Yeah, don't do that.
What you're doing is rejecting them in their highest form of loving you.
Yeah.
And so touch is the only one that requires that you give love back at the same time, because if you pull away or if you try to say get off of me, you immediately rejected their highest form of showing love. Mm-hmm. And that's very tough, and so if somebody is a touch quality time and they're with a words of affirmation gift giver, they're going to be missing each other constantly, because they're going to be like, can you please snuggle with me? They're like, I bought you a shirt. And you're going to be like, I don't want a shirt, I want to snuggle. They're like, I'm buying you shirts. What the hell's the problem here? They're like,
it gives you everything that you could possibly want. And you're like, all I want you to do is hold my hand. Yeah. It's very eye-opening.
Did you let Bobby Schmidt get on this thing?
Hi, Bobby. Behave yourself. You never know what you're going to get from that guy.
That's funny. He's hilarious. I don't mind. Welcome on, Bobby.
Good evening from Vegas, yes.
So touch is the one that is the most volatile that you have to pay attention to. It's not because they're trying to smother, not trying to be needy or be too much. It's the way they say, I care about you, I care about you, I care about you. And if you're going, please stop, you're rejecting their highest form of love. It would be no different than if somebody was a gift giver and you take that gift and throw it in the garbage. It's the same. Mm-hmm. It's a complete lack of appreciation. Just because it's not your love language, it can get dangerous and it starts deteriorating your entire relationship.
Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a very tough one. And I think in a lot of marriages that is one of the biggest complaints. And we watch a lot of TED Talks and a lot of different things when it comes to marriage relationships and everything like that. And the loveless marriage is something that comes up a lot. And one of the biggest reasons that a lot of marriages fail, because the marriages become loveless. Mm-hmm. So.
What? I just watched you start reading and stop mid-sentence.
Because I thought you were going to
add. Drink. Cheers to you guys. And if you know your love language, go ahead and put your love language up. We love that you guys are here with us. I'm giving you words of affirmation to say thank you for being a part of this. We do appreciate it very much. And with that mid-sentence pause, let's drink to that. Thank you guys.
Cheers to all of you guys.
All of you. Thank you for being with us on Wine Wednesday. So let's get into where now we know what they are. We know what the love languages are. We know which ones they are. And if you don't, take the test, because it'll help you understand each other, and it's a lot more fun to do. It's actually kind of a fun thing. If you have somebody who's resistant, tell them to chill out.
It's fun to do together.
It's fun. Just do it together.
Quiz each other. It's good quality time.
It's not a big deal. So have some fun with it and learn about each other, because it will make your lives easier, and then raise your level of awareness of that person doing the thing that shows I love you, even if it's not the way you show I love you.
Yeah.
And so it's very helpful to be able to do that with each other. So what happens to love? So what happens? I want to hear your theory. You know that I've got my theory.
Let's hear yours first.
I wrote about it. So if you haven't checked out Everything's a Choice, we also, you know what people don't know is we put all this stuff up on our YouTube channel. We actually have a Just a Mile a Day YouTube channel. You can watch our Wine Wednesdays. You can see some of the Everything's a Choice stuff. You can watch some of our cool stuff with Just a Mile a Day. So we have that. I don't even tell people about it.
We do have it. Also, just prepare yourself, because there are some where there's a lot of noise in the back. And that is also my fault, because I can't stand to be hot when we do this. But guess what? It's winter, so now the windows are open. And so now the quality of audio will be much better.
Oh, if you only knew the stuff in the background from what we do with these shows. Like, the fan will be on and these microphones will just pick up that noise the whole time.
And for those of you guys who don't know, you hear me say to him, talk louder. No one can hear you.
It makes
and
me
he's like,
bananas. I'm like, it's
he's
just.
like, the microphone is right in front of us. And I'm like, stop whispering. No one
right
can hear you. No one can hear you. Holly said drink. Okay.
You're probably right. Probably right. So
Holly's love languages are touch and acts of service. Love it.
Good bunch. Good bunch. So what happens to love? So now we've got love languages and a lot of dynamics. Most people have no idea what the love languages are. They're in it for a very long time and things start falling apart.
Yeah.
Now, I have a theory on love languages for what happens with marriage. Why is it when people get married, you see them good for a little while and then it starts to fall apart? What happens in these relationships? Why are boyfriends and girlfriends fighting all the time, but friends aren't fighting like that all the time? What is different? What's going on? Because you'll have friends that you're friends with for years and just not get in screaming matches, but why when you're in a relationship are you in freaking screaming matches?
However, the flip side of that is not all relationships do have fights. We never fought when I was married, ever.
You're right.
And so there's also that too. So it's not always a screaming match.
And there's also the psychology to that too. And it falls into it too because I was even listening to a guy who's a major psychologist and he was saying, you're right, you guys are having marriage problems, but you never fight. He's like, let me guess, you're also not having sex too. And they're like, how did you know? And they're like, because we have no passion in our relationship.
I don't think that's always true either.
You're going to think you're the only human on the planet right now, aren't you?
Maybe.
Okay, tell us how your only relationship is the same as everyone in the world.
Okay, you need a drink.
Yeah, I'll drink to this one because we're
gonna have a screaming match.
No, this is where it gets in.
I'm just saying it doesn't always have to be that. So then, what would that be?
I didn't say always.
Because I am not the only person that has that. So tell us your thoughts.
Okay, the same thing happened in your relationship that falls in line with what I'm about to say.
Great.
You just already saw
I'm listening up.
It comes down to one thing changes. Is when you get into a relationship where you say, I'm burning all the bridges, I'm with you, I'm yours. I am now, we are together, we are our thing.
Yep.
When you become one thing, something changes with ownership. Something happens. When you guys weren't together, when you're not together, they can go anytime. There's no pressure. I can appreciate you have your things, I've got my things, and we're good. Until it becomes us, our things. And then you start going, I need you to fulfill your potential. I need you to be the way I want you to be. I need you to start, I'm going to start changing you because now you're mine. And I need you to be a specific way. Now you think you never did that, but you still had high expectations for your standards that also weren't being met. But because they weren't, I need to be up your ass all the time, it created the exact thing that you didn't want. Because the expectations on both sides were different.
Yeah.
Because that person probably wasn't always that person.
No.
But it changed because the situation, the rules change. And so what I mean by that is when somebody says, I do forever, there are things change. It's not just women doing it to men or men doing it to women. Both sides change in some way.
Yeah.
I see where women start going, now I need you to start doing things different, and in expectations creating an imaginary version. And we have coached and worked with women who have been like, damn it, that's exactly what I'm doing. I definitely started saying, I want him to start doing this thing more. I want him to also do this with the kids. And I also want him to be this kind of dad. And I also want him to make this kind of money. And I also want him to be this kind of man. And it all starts pushing him to be something that he wasn't.
Right.
And on the same note, I've even seen where guys just start going now that I'm married, I don't have to do nothing. I'm done. I'm not going to keep in shape anymore. I'm not going to take care of myself. Who cares? I ain't trying to get nobody, like now you can let yourself go because you don't have there's no chase, there's no room for loss. I've made full commitment, there's no fear, I've got safety, I've got security, I've got all of these things. And then all of a sudden, it starts to change the relationship.
Yeah.
The appreciation you had before when they could just go, well, I don't show as much appreciation because you're not going to go.
Right.
I don't keep in good shape anymore because you're not going to go. I don't do as much as I used to when I was chasing after you because I got you and you're not going to go. And it starts to change all of it.
Yep.
The expectations and the rules change.
People stop trying. That's what it is.
It happens. Now, I'm not saying instantaneously, but I have seen where it is instantaneous, but it's not common. But because I've seen 10-year relationships of people who are happily together with multiple kids, no problems, everything's good. They get married and with 6 months split up. For some reason, that level of commitment does change something in certain people. And it starts deteriorating the appreciation you have when they can just go.
Right.
And there is something to that. And we got in a big conversation this morning, and this is something that she touched on a little earlier in this episode, is that she was saying how if we have an abundance of something good, for some reason we start to not appreciate it as much. Mm-hmm. And it's very true. And it's not a consciously good thing, because it seems like the more good stuff you have, the more you should appreciate what you have. But for some reason, if somebody brings you coffee every morning, at first you're like, wow, thank you. Whoa, this is really cool. I can get used to this. And you fucking get used to it. You get used to it, because then after a while you're like, hey, where's my coffee? What the hell?
What happened to that?
Why aren't you getting me my coffee right now? And you start getting mad over kindness.
Yep.
Or you start going like, nah, whatever. Like you start not appreciating as much because you've gotten so much love that it's become less noticeable.
Right. And I want to challenge you guys too, to really take a step back and look at the relationship that you're in and look for the things. And this could be good or bad once you start looking for it, right? But look for all the things that your significant other does for you that is a way that they're showing what their love language is. Mm-hmm. And show appreciation for those things. And just a simple thank you. Thank you. I see what you're doing and I appreciate you for doing it. If it's been something they've done for years and years and years, or if it's something new that they're doing, everyone shows their love in different ways and different languages. So be aware, have the awareness to look around and see what are those types of things. If you have a husband that cooks dinner or helps get the kids ready for bed. Mm-hmm. I think it's easy as women. I used to say this. I'd be like, well, that's their job. That's what they should be doing.
You're supposed to. Your love language doesn't count. You're supposed to.
You're supposed to. That's your job. Your job is to put your kids to bed. But what stops you from just saying, hey, I appreciate you for doing this tonight. I was tired. I appreciate you jumping in and helping out. I really do. It means a lot to me. So I was able to get a couple other things done, on my end. Things like that does not hurt anybody, just to stop and say thank you. I see what you're doing, because people that feel appreciated will naturally do more things.
Mm-hmm. And recognition is the heart and soul of what we built our entire thing on. And so being able to recognize in the moment that somebody is doing a thing gives you the ability to say, I appreciate that thing more. But if you're not paying attention, and this is where raising your level of awareness of what's going on, if you know your love languages and you watch, like you said, the guy putting the girls to bed, that's an act of service. That's me doing something that you would have done so you don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's me showing I love you and I love them. This is good for all of us. This is me showing I love you, instead of going, you're supposed to. And I wish that you're supposed to. How many dads don't show up? How many dads aren't there and they're like watching TV while the kids are getting put to bed? And I'm not saying all dads, but there are those guys. And you start hearing more about the negative than you do about the positive. When somebody does a good job, you never hear about it. When people do a bad job, that's all you hear about.
Right, absolutely.
And so it's not that you're supposed to, but recognize like, hey, I saw that you put that away. That was an act of service. Thank you for that. Or, hey, have a good day. This is touch. I hope you have a good day. Like, oh, thank you. I see that you're doing that. Or, I'll be there and I'll just hang out with you. I know you're going through a tough time. That's quality time. I'm showing you that I care just by being there. I don't have to do anything for you. I'm just there for you.
Right.
And that's where I think that people mess up with some of these things with themselves and with others is they just don't have an awareness that it's happening. You know, and everything that we do in our Everything is a Choice training is really get into training, because awareness is a skill. And this is something that we practice and practice and practice. Self-awareness and awareness outwards to know what's going on around you and what's going on with the way you feel about it. And so we do encourage people to come and check out our training, because the people in our group, like our training, are growing so fast. And
They
it's
really
because
are.
we practice skills that matter for these moments, and it gives you your power back, and that's what Everything is a Choice does. So being able to recognize that this person's love language is happening right now gives you the ability to choose whether you appreciate them or don't. But if you're too busy with your own bullshit and you can't even get past your own nonsense to recognize something's happening around you, you will miss it and then wonder what happened.
Yep.
That's up to you. Like, did you have a level of awareness or not? And I think that that's where the power of Everything's a Choice and knowing your love languages and raising your awareness all comes into play, to be able to give you the options to decide, how am I going to handle this? How am I going to choose to love somebody? How am I going to choose to show somebody back?
Yep.
And that's where the whole reason for this comes into play, is if you don't know about it, you can't choose. If you don't know something is happening, you can't say thank you or decide how you want to handle something. If you don't have an awareness of it, you're going to miss all of it. That's how that works. So raising your level of awareness of what these things are, and you'll watch something simple like I went to go mow the lawn. You're supposed to. That's acts of service. This guy's mowing the lawn because he loves all of you. That's he doesn't have to do that. If he just lets it sit for a long time and go, there's a lawnmower, why don't you go do it? And some of you stubborn ladies will go, whatever, give me that lawnmower. But then you're going to be pissed the whole damn time because he didn't do his acts of service. It's appreciation for noticing what's happening, which starts making it so what happened to love is, how are you guys still so in love? I recognize what they're doing. I do their love language, and I see when they do theirs to me. And it changes everything.
Good job.
Well, you good job. Cheers to all of you guys. We appreciate you guys for being on here. We know that we're getting long-winded. It's only been like 47
Speak for
minutes.
yourself.
Oh, well, I will. I will.
You are.
But I think we're now at the point where you guys have gotten our message. You see what we're talking about today, and now we would like to hear from you. So throw out a couple questions, or be like, hey, what about this thing? Or here's a scenario for you. Or that's
your
all.
own love language too.
That's all fine and good. But what about this? And those are my favorite of all questions. When they say, everything is a choice, but what about this is probably my favorite conversations that I get to have, because I am a challenger by nature.
Debater.
And I also love to be challenged.
Love to debate.
I am a debater. I do like to debate.
I can't stand it.
Sometimes it's just communication. And that's my love language. Drink! I set you up for that one.
Yeah, you did. Cheers to that.
Cheers! Well, I feel like as we got into this conversation, I think that people have had relationships that have had this. I think people have seen it and felt it and been in these dynamics before, where if you do hindsight, now I just want to give you a very, very, very big awareness thing for you guys. Your ex is an ex for a reason. Just because now you can go, oh yeah, I guess they were doing love languages. You don't have to go back to somebody that was a dead relationship. Just don't do that. You see people go like, well, that one guy, if I would have only shown more appreciation. Like,
let it go.
Let it go. I'm not trying to tell you to get back with your ex. Stop that. I'm just telling you, now that you've gone through different life training, you've gone through different life lessons, and you can be more aware of different scenarios of love and things that are happening around you, it's time to move forward. So I don't want people going like, well, Rick and Andrea said if I only did my love languages, I can go back with my asshole ex. I'm like, no, we didn't.
Don't do that. On to the next.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
All right, Bobby Schmidt. He's going to give me some shit. Let's see what he's got. Our love language is 90s rap lyrics, playing songs from YouTube and back and forth while we hang out. And nailed it.
Right.
Nailed it. Absolutely. And it's an easy one too, because you can just go ahead and send a quick gift to each other, GIF.
Right, absolutely.
And be able to say, hey, this is the way I say I love you. And that's, if people think about that, there's, two things. First, you got to look that stuff up, which takes some time. That's acts of service. And then I'm sending you words.
And we're doing it together, and that's quality time.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I think that's a cool thing, too, recognizing some of it. You're giving your person that you love a massage, it's a combination of acts of service and touch. You know, there's certain things that, it's not just one thing. So we don't want to try and make it like you're only doing the one.
No, because there's different
combined,
absolutely.
Quality time is a part of most of the stuff you do.
Yep.
So it all matches together. It's just knowing what the expectations for their priorities are that give you power back.
And making sure there's appreciation around it.
Yeah, it gives you the control. You have control of the relationship. So if it's falling apart, it's no longer like, why did this happen to me? How come all of my relationships always fall apart? You didn't pay attention. That's why. You were driving the car into the lake and you're wondering why it's underwater. Like, you drove it. You're driving. But if you're able to go I know what's happening because now my level of awareness is higher, there's no more blame on everybody else. They did this and they did that. Well, sometimes people aren't a match, and that's okay too. It's not a horrible thing. Mm-hmm. What do we got here? We got something from Kelly. Can you read it?
I'll try.
Andrea, saw your progress post.
So proud of you, living from your Mac fan. Oh, I don't see Seymour. So proud and happy that you're happy. I don't see the rest. Thank you, Kelly. And of course, I love my Mac family as well.
Do you want me to push the button for you?
Yeah, I want to see it.
It's acts of service. I got you.
Yeah. Acts of service. You're glowing. Thank you. It's a little soft and gentle from Mac, which that's where I work full time, and I love my job.
And good lighting.
Obsessed. Yeah, and good lighting too. You should only see the lights, Kelly, all around us. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Kelly. That was sweet. Vicky, she says, my hubs and I have been together 25 years, and about 3 years ago, finally hit our great, stride. This book changed the game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
And hopefully even what we're doing in this and Wine Wednesday is just raising someone's level of awareness that these things exist.
Right.
And so we're not saying that watching this video makes your relationship better, but it sure lets you know that the tools that could help exist. And that's really the point of all the stuff that we do.
It's just, again, another tool of awareness. Do you see it for what it is? Everyone has access to this book and other things that are out there as tools to help you and guide you through relationships and communication.
That's all of them. This works not only with your relationship and love. This works with friends.
It does.
This works with coworkers.
Absolutely.
If somebody gets you a muffin in the morning, you go, "Hey, that was gift giving. Thank you." That doesn't mean we're dating. It just means that I recognize you did something, or someone's like, "Hey, I already printed off those sheets for you. You're good to go." That was an act of service, And so it's not necessarily that everything has to be like a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It could just be friends, or somebody's like, "Hey, I ordered us pizza." Hey, you didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. You can have some. That's no problem. That's gift giving. Thank you. And these things are all over the place. Simple gestures, something small. If I go and pet this little mutt right here, what is this? This is my touch love language, and that's what he does. He does his touch love language back. And so that's, he's a big quality time toucher, this one. He's all about belly rubs and hanging out.
Yeah.
And so it's just recognizing what is the love language that's happening, but it's not always relationships that are you're in love. It could be something as simple as just friends who go hey, I sent you a message to say, I hope you're doing okay. That's words of affirmation, quality time. That's also act of service. I did a thing to say, hey, I care about you.
Right. And Cassandra says, and with your kids too, absolutely. That's something that we talk about a lot.
Super important.
And identifying what love languages your kids have is so important. And my middle daughter, Haley, we went to Rick's grandpa's funeral last weekend.
A couple days ago, yeah.
And something that she does that I picked up on is that any time that she feels like we're in a tough situation. We didn't know his grandfather well, but she knows this is a sad moment for everybody. Right. No. I'm talking about,
I know him pretty good.
Well, you did, but we're at a funeral, right? And so the whole time we're standing there, and she has her hand on my back, like rubbing my back. Like, that's her way. And I'm like, I'm okay. But just for her, knowing, okay, we're at a funeral, this is what you do, you know, I said to Rick, I think her love language is touch, because that's what, like, lately she's been holding my hand and things like that. And so it's interesting too to know, not interesting, it's important to know what your love languages, what your kids' love languages are too, because they also have them as well.
Mm-hmm. And they don't know that they have them.
Right.
And this is why you being more informed gives you a huge advantage on how to connect with your own kids. And we do the same thing with the girls too, is each of them are different. They're not the same. You know, and so some of them will be highly in one category and very low in the other, so you can't treat them the same way. But also they're very different people.
Right.
And so they also need different things for each other too. So it's something for you guys to even like pay higher awareness to your kids. And this gives you a massive advantage in being able to help them also develop, because you know the things that fulfill them and the things that don't. But if you've got a kid who's a touch quality time and you just keep buying them shit, you're gonna miss the boat there, because they're gonna be angry and upset, and they're unhappy and they're sad, and they lash out because you're not filling their cup, because you never paid attention to what does it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of the development for all of us humans, is what's the thing that makes it so you're able to connect with your kids their way. You know, not just your way. If you're a big acts of service person and you keep cleaning their room, but they don't give a shit because they just want to hug you, like, you're missing it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a big part of it. And so it's cool for Andrea to be able to recognize, like, my daughter's love language is touch.
Mm-hmm.
I should pay attention. Now, she doesn't know this because she's, you know, preteen, and so, of course, she's like, don't touch me, I'm dumb, I don't need that,
but
whatever. But
it's
really,
easy, right, but because that is my love language, it's easy for me to connect. Mm-hmm. You know, and again, it just goes back to the awareness of the other two, which love languages they are, and I think I have them sorted out. But it's always easier to connect with the one that you personally have. So
absolutely,
yeah.
So hopefully that helps some of you guys. I feel like this was good. We went through a lot.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, welcome on. Hope, I'm glad you're on.
Yeah,
go ahead and tell
Hope.
Eddie I said hey. I missed the hell out of that guy. So I miss you both, of course. But yeah. This is good. I think this was good, and hopefully some of this Wine Wednesday helps some of you out. I know a lot of you got on here just to hit the emoji. Thank you for that too.
Earn your points for your team.
Get your points, and thank you guys for the time that you spend with us. We do put a lot of time and effort into making it so that these free shows are good for everybody, and that you guys get at least some content or something out of it every single week. We are coming up, I think, is it next week?
Next Wednesday.
Next
1
Wednesday.
year. Or 2 years.
It'll
oh my
be-
gosh, 2 years.
We started Just a Mile a Day 2 years ago. And the amount of impact in certain people's lives that have happened it's been amazing. We have watched people have transformations, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally, in such positive ways. And we're just getting started. We have such cool stuff coming out soon. We're going to be consolidating and simplifying everything down and making it better and better and better, because we're always trying to improve ourselves. So we're very thankful for all the time that you guys spend with us. We're thankful for the energy and development and growth and hard work and all the stuff that we put in together.
Support, encouragement.
There's so much love that we
Yeah.
do show each other. That's why you have Recognition Warriors. You have Just a Mile a Day. Blowing up as far as just how much love is in there. There's no negativity in Just a Mile a Day. So if you're like, man, I need a good group, the group itself, you won't
beautiful.
find anybody in there going like, oh, that's it, or you suck, or hey, fat ass. Like, there's none of that. We don't have anything like that. It's all like, you're in it too, I'm in this battle also, let's do it together. Like,
Absolutely.
everyone's so positive. And I'm very proud of us for having that as a thing that we created. You know, a few years ago, like, I didn't even know how to use Facebook. I had to refer to how to make a group. I even made a second profile of myself thinking that's how you do it. I had a dumb profile of me. And so to be able to create this thing, to make it so it can connect and not even just connect to people, but connect people. There's people right now on your team you may not have known before.
Right.
And it's things that we're very proud to be able to say that this is making an impact, and it's going to get better and better because we have big dreams, big goals to improve it. I feel like I interrupted you and you're ready to go.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
You did great.
And so we just wanted to say thank you, very much thank you. Our words of affirmation, thank you for being the person that you are, the person who puts in the work and is inspiring even if you don't know you're inspiring
Absolutely.
somebody. You are
Never
inspiring
assume that
somebody.
you're not, because you are, I promise you.
People are inspiring people. You know, I talked to
Absolutely.
Christine Moore, and I talked to people today who are like, I just want to do this thing. And I'm like, you're getting people to do the thing because you're doing the thing.
Yep.
Keep doing the thing. Like, things like that become beautiful to see. And so I'm very, very grateful, and I'm very thankful for what's happening with us, for our progress, for mindset training growing. People are jumping in, and they're getting massive benefit from this. But things are going to be evolving very soon, and we are going to say this is going to be the last month for some of our pricing to be the way it is. We are remarkably underpriced for the market for what we do. And so anybody who has any of our stuff, any of our memberships, any of our subscriptions, I'm going to make a promise. I'm never going to raise the rent on anybody who has the stuff already. It's going to go up, but not for anybody who already has our services.
So get it now if you don't have it.
If you were on the fence for Jam the Excuses, if you were on the fence for joining in on some of our mindset stuff, if you're on the fence, jump in now, because I will never raise the price for this stuff if you are already a loyalty person. And we talked about this, and I just want to make sure that the people who helped us get to where we are need to be appreciated.
Absolutely.
And so our love language is going to be our own acts of service, is saying we will always support you where we started, and we're not going to change it just because things are changing. And so we're thankful. We're very thankful. We're grateful for you guys being with us. And we want to show some appreciation for it.
Absolutely. And I just have to throw out, too, for mindset training that we do every Tuesday night. It is so impactful. And again, I just have to give the people that do mindset training a huge shout out. If you guys have signed up or haven't signed up, I encourage you to do this. It is the most inspiring group of women to watch these women have breakthroughs and to go through life stuff and to start overcoming life things that they're going through. And you can start to see a physical change in their attitude as well as their bodies and their overall spirit. It's such a beautiful thing. And the mindset training, I know people that sign up for it will not jump on and participate, but they'll get the emails, which is fine. However, the power to the mindset training is being live with these other women to have the love and the support, because the 15 to 20 minute video that you get for the mindset training, so much happens behind the scenes. And so if you don't jump into mindset training and you're only getting the videos, you are missing out. So I highly encourage anyone that is interested in doing mindset training to jump on, sign up at justamiletoday.com, but also jump on and stay on for that full hour on Tuesday evenings. You owe it to yourself, and I promise you will not be disappointed. It is seriously life-changing, and it has been improved by so many people that are continuing to do it. So I just wanted to throw that out there because a lot of work and time has went into this, and it's pretty powerful.
It really has. So yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good job. All right, so cheers to you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you guys for the time you spent on this Wine Wednesday. And we are going to say adieu. If you haven't gotten a chance yet, books you should check out. My book is on Amazon. I am going to work on a very fun version of this book I'm working on now. So that'll be a downloadable we'll work on for this to make it fun for you guys.
And then my friend Gary Chapman, 5 Love Languages.
Her good friend, her very close friend, Gary Chapman.
Mr. Gary Chapman.
Wrote this book 20 years ago, very old man.
He's doing great.
Good friend, such a good friend.
Yeah. Proud of him.
When was the last time you hung out with Gary?
Today, earlier, right before this video.
Oh yeah, you watched him on YouTube because you guys are friends through YouTube.
Yep. I like this.
Good job. So cheers to you guys. Thank you. And
Bye, guys.
for those of you who are in your competition and on your challenge, or if you're just sitting around going like, what do I got to do with this just a mile a day thing? What am I supposed to do? Let's go ahead and switch it up a little bit. What are they supposed to do?
Get off the jam couch.
And do the jam thing.
You can do what?
What?
Jam it anywhere.
Oh, damn it, girl. I love you. All right.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you guys.